Hello and welcome to this morning's Liverpool News Roundup here on Anfield Agenda. I'm going to be completely honest with you, there's not a huge amount of news this morning. So what we're going to do is go through Jamie Carragher's recent quotes from the Stick to Football podcast because I thought they were very interesting. He was speaking about some of the signings he thinks we should make in January, some of the issues around Arne Slot's squad and why Liverpool are struggling. So we're going to go through some of the quotes. Like I said, not a huge amount of news this morning, so I think this is a good thing just to discuss. Get your thoughts on it, I'll give my thoughts on it as well. And before we do get into it, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and let's get into the quotes. So, like I said, Jamie Carragher, speaking on the Stick to Football podcast, had this to say about Liverpool's struggles so far this season. If we're being totally honest, in the games they've lost, they can't handle the physicality of the Premier League this season. They can't. When you think of teams that lack something, they normally let you down away from home against teams that have a physical game. 4 of their 5 defeats have come away from Anfield, and Carragher believes that Slot's desire to see his side play more football is costing them. They have gone missing away from home, he said. They're fine at Anfield. They've only lost one this season, which was the Man United game. Wouldn't say it's fine to lose against Man United, but I do get his point. Like, most of our struggles have been away from home. They're fine at home. They feel comfortable. I think Arne Slot wants to move Liverpool forward. Even though they won the league, every game went to the wire. He almost wants more football. When you heard him speak about PSG last season, he was like, oh my god, that's the football I want. So when he played Man City last week, he was talking like Pep Guardiola was his hero, and he probably is for a lot of coaches. That is his football. I think he's trying to push Liverpool a certain way, and the Premier League has gone back in terms of physicality, so his team was probably a little bit weaker. Now everyone is just giants. There is long throws and set pieces, and they just can't cope. And we're going to stop there just to dissect that a little bit. So he could be onto something here, to be fair. Like, we have seen the rise of set pieces, physical play, long throws. Like, kind of football has kind of regressed almost in a way back to just brute force and physicality rather than tiki-taka football, which is the direction Arne Slot does seem to want this side to go. Like, we've heard him speak so many times about PSG and that style of play, like the just good football to watch, like not the Arsenal way of just, like, you know, dark arts, just scoring from set pieces and just grinding out results. Like, Arne Slot does seem to want to play football, which it shouldn't really be seen as a bad thing. But then when the league is going the other way, maybe Jamie Carragher does have a point, and he continued on then to speak about some of the players we should maybe sign in January to kind of adjust for this. So Carragher reckons Liverpool have little choice but to sign more players in January, picking out Bournemouth's Antoine Semenyo, who has a £65 million release clause, as a smart addition. He added, I don't think this group of players are equipped to win the league this season. You look at the difference in the Champions League, they're fine. All of Florian Wirtz's best games have been in the Champions League, and that's a fair point. Like, we are seeing Florian Wirtz getting up to the fitness and physicality of the Premier League, but the game he really shone in was against Frankfurt, who, of course, is a team we would be familiar with from his time in Germany, but also against other European teams. Like, other European leagues don't tend to be quite as physical or as tough or as hard as Premier League. So he could be on something there. Like, players like Florian Wirtz will be a little bit lightweight in the meantime as he gets up to that level. But yeah, it's an interesting point there he's making. He continued then to say, I think they'll have to recruit more physical players, and maybe even in January. I've just seen the Semenyo links come up, and obviously he's got the link with sporting director Richard Hughes. When you actually look at him as a player, lightning quick, big and powerful, Liverpool don't have a lot of pace out wide. Salah is not a flying machine, Gakpo neither. I just think there needs to be more pace in the team, and physicality and power, and I'd fully agree with that point. Like, Salah and Gakpo, good players in their own right, like, they have their pros and cons to them, obviously, but we do lack that, like, pace and tenacity and the power. Like, we had a little bit of the electric pace with Luis Diaz last season, not quite the power, but someone like an Antoine Semenyo, who is just a big physical force. He's quick, he's fast, he's strong, he has a bit of everything. He's 2-footed, so he can play on either side. So we could bring out Gakpo, bring in Semenyo, take out Salah for a few games, bring in Semenyo. I think, especially at that price, at £65 million, I think it is an absolute no-brainer to go out and get Antoine Semenyo, particularly in January if there are other clubs sniffing around him. Like, we need to just get that deal done. He could change our season, in fairness. Like, I think the likes of an Antoine Semenyo could come in and hit the ground running a lot quicker than the likes of a Florian Wirtz or a Jeremy Frimpong, or whatever signing you want to make a point about. I just think Semenyo is fit and firing right now. He's already in good form, so he could come in, slot seamlessly in, and just start to change our fortune slightly, because we are missing that brute strength up front. We're missing that power and pace and everything. So I'd be all on board to get Semenyo in January. Carragher does seem to be the same way as well, and I think it's a signing that is very realistic given the Richard Hughes link, given the low enough release clause and everything. I think this is definitely one to keep an eye on, and I would not be one bit surprised if we see Semenyo in red in 6 or 7 weeks' time. He continued then, so the Reds have looked shaky in defence, and Carragher insists their failure to secure the signing of Mark Gahey on transfer deadline day was a big misstep. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with the fact that we should have got Mark Gahey in the summer. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that, but he said that was a big mistake not signing Mark Gahey. Liverpool are known as being really smart in the market, not overpaying and really good at selling. That could cost them. I think if Liverpool don't sign a centre-back in January, and then Roy Keane interrupted them by saying they'd miss out on the Champions League. And I don't know if I'd go as far as thinking we will miss out on the Champions League if we don't get a defender. I would 100% agree that we do need a defender. I think we need someone else just to give us any kind of chance of getting back into the league or winning the Champions League. But I think we'll get Champions League either way, in all honesty. Like, I think we are too good a team, even without the little bit of depth, that we should still finish third or fourth, I think, at the bare minimum. I would be hopeful if we bring in a centre-back and Semenyo, maybe we can go on a run of games, start to put the pressure back on Arsenal and Man City. Ultimately, I don't think we will catch them, but look, you can never write this team off. You can never say never. I think if we're within 3 or 4 points of Arsenal going into the last 3 or 4 months of the season, we have a chance. We should, in theory, be getting better as time goes on, as the new lads start to settle in, as Arne Slot tends to figure out this system and what's the best way of getting his best players on the pitch. So look, if we do get into the final few months and we're only a few points off the top, who knows, we could be there. If not, I think we have a very good chance in the Champions League. Like, on our day, we can beat anyone, and I think another few reinforcements just to make sure we have options will give us a great chance of going very, very far into the Champions League. And I don't think we're at risk of losing out on a Champions League spot. Like, I know we sit in 8th at the minute, but we have a very easy run coming up. I think Opta has the easiest run for the next 8 games in the league. So I think we should pick up like 6 or 7 or 8 wins out of those 8 games. I think that should firmly start to solidify us in that top 3 or 4. Like I said, we could end up being closer to Arsenal than we are now if they slip up a bit and we actually go on a winning run here. But either way, I think we will start to pull away from that pack in the next 7 or 8 games, because we do have an easier run compared to other people, and we should just be picking up points again. We should just be putting points on the board, solidifying our place in the Champions League next season, and then possibly pushing for the league, or else just focusing on the Champions League this season. But yeah, I wouldn't agree that we're not going to get Champions League, but I would 100% agree we do need a centre-back in January. Do let me know what you think on this one, though. Like, does Jamie Carragher have a point? Like he said, the league does seem to be almost regressing in terms of it going back to physicality and long throws and stuff like that, and Liverpool are kind of going in the opposite direction. So look, maybe it will come back around and our style of play will come back into fashion or come back to winning stuff, but he does have a point, to be fair. Like, maybe we are lacking a bit of physicality and just leaning into the dark arts of the game that way, and just kind of, like, Slot does seem to want to play like this, like, good football, just in terms of like a good spectacle, a good like possession based control. Just, he basically wants to be PSG, doesn't he? So like, he's going down that direction. The rest of the league seems to be going the other direction. Let's hope it pays off for us, or we can get that little bit of physicality in. Like we said, Antoine Semenyo and Mark Gahey will be a huge help for the rest of the season. So look, that's all from me this morning anyway. Like I said, there was barely any news to go through, so I thought this was a good discussion point. Please do let me know if you agree with me, if you agree with Carragher. If you have some different points on this, please do let me know. Hit the like button before you head out, hit the subscribe button. Craig will be back in the afternoon for a video, and then live again this evening at 8:45 as usual. So keep an eye out for that one. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you very soon.